Algeria ang dingaye. Nigeria nengaye. Niger dingaye. Ghana dingaye. Uganda dingaye. Sudan dingaye. Ethiopia dingaye. Hindu dingaye. Ole dingaye. Voila, thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, where is Goyo? Huh? Where is Goyo? Goyo. Where is Goyo? Goyo. People, look for Goyo, please. Okay, but by the time that Goyo comes, I'm not hijacking his role. I wanted us to give him time. So please, thank you so much, firstly, to all the people that did the work from the group 1, group 2, group 3, and group 4. Now, we are going to hear from the report back. So we will call the group, the rapporteurs, and the facilitators. You can come and you can nominate one person that can report back. And after you report back, ask if there is anything that misses, if your group can add. And if nothing is missing, this is fine. We pass to the group 2. We do the same until the group 4. So when we finish all the groups, so we can see if we have time, we can get some comment from the things that you didn't hear from. So we do not make the comment after the group 1 report, except if we are from the same group and we think that they didn't capture your idea. So then at the end, you hear from all the 4 groups, and if you think there is something missing, so then people can raise their hand and give the additional things that you think should be there in the reporting that we miss it. Is that agreeable for everyone? Yes? Wonderful. Great. So shall I start by group 1? So if the group 1, the rapporteurs and moderator, you can come up there and the rapporteur can read it. Here is the microphone.
Okay, thank you very much. In group 1, I think we worked in 2 groups. So we had like our thematic, which was securing pastoral land mobility and cross-border coexistence, customary land tenure mobility corridors, and cross-border governance and peace building. I think this group, we had good discussions that you will hear the report back from our rapporteur. And I think we also have like some 2 or 3 big recommendations that were made by our different members that we will also like to highlight with you. And I think after the rapporteur, we'll also give like a broad conclusion on the different discussions or on the summary of the discussion. So I'll give the floor to the rapporteur to at least give some key main points of our discussion. Hawa. And we'll also like to recognize our note taker. I don't see her. Where is she? Yes. No. One of our note takers, I think she is out, but she was incredible, in putting all this together in a few minutes. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. The breakout session was...
So please put on your headsets because it will be in French.
Is it working?
Yes. Please put your handsets.
Securing pastoralist land, mobility, and cross-border coexistence, customary land tenure, mobility corridors, transboundary governance, and peace building. We have how to customary land tenure systems contribute to securing pastoralist land right and mobility. Pastoralists may secure their land through their traditional structure. You cannot proceed with anything without local management. Mobility corridors. There are laws that are not adaptable to the livelihood of communities and the customary systems of communities. In Kenya, we have administration boundaries set by the colonialists, so each region was a tribal people. They were the ones who knew how to do land use in their own area. They know where to do land grazing depending on season. They know areas where different cultural activities happen. So it is them that know how to manage the land. Each group of people have a right over their land. They decide how third parties can enter. Conflict should be resolved locally too. Land ownership allocation is based on the traditional activities and beliefs. Southern Ethiopia, border northern Kenya, among communities, the government officials have never demarcated the land and market the border. The elders from each community for each season meet and discuss, and they agree on how pastoralists from Kenya will move through borders. There is no ownership of the land, but rather shared governance. They are not formal ways, but a way of accepting. Most of our lands are owned by the community without government demarcation. It is the elders who are the custodians of the land, and they know the boundaries. Any other members that in coming in needs to follow protocols to be neutralized into that community. Customary systems contribute because they have knowledge of the land, how to move seasonality, livestock. From Tanzania, it is very important to protect the tenure system of pastoralists. Livestock is the life of pastoralists. We need land use planning management that can identify the areas where we need to be protected from livestock. This will lead us to make sure that there are not confusion over those areas. It is key to have restoration of the rangeland key points land democratic key points. Okay. Land demarcation, land, land demarcation, yeah, land restoration, and security of the land. It is interesting that there is not question about how to secure pastoral lands. Absolutely clear that any way of securing pastoral lands has to be able to carry through and integrate the fact that the system is community based and all tradition and knowledge must be sustained. In Kenya, this hasn't been achieved yet, but at least there is a measure of security. Most of them have rights of access and use, but they don't own the land. There has to be mechanism of recognizing that land as legally possessed by pastoralists. Council of Elders. Morocco. We have collective lands, adaptation strategies, access to water and land, preservation of the environment. From Niger, where we have the same practice of pastoralists with livestock. What are the main challenges to protect mobility corridors, including across national borders? Restriction over transboundary include crime and attacks against pastoralists, lack of access to water, which impacts livestock mortality, lack of security and knowledge of pastoralist rights, disappearance of mobility corridors as they become blocked by farmers' agriculture. We need to secure the corridors and integrate mechanisms of peace and climate adaptation, value traditional knowledge, and integrate pastoralists in political decision making. Okay. Where and how do we place traditional institutions in the evolving contemporary land governance? Customary land systems must be recognized and protected. Participation and recognition of traditional institutions. Summary from facilitator. Okay. Strengthening legal recognition is priority and essential to reduce conflict, secure grazing area, and ensure climate resilience. This may include restitution. Preserve traditional livestock corridors. There is particular conflict and this might be preserved in the legal way. Cross-border governance. Pastoral mobility does not stop in national borders effective cooperation. Between, between transboundary is essential for transhumance, peace building. How do customary land tenure systems contribute to securing pastoralist and right and mobility? This is the way communities have been working mi- for millions. For what? For my, the government responsible for land management to not accept this. It is a challenge. The government will come and want to register the land and attach individual ownership, and then movement becomes difficult. The same thing applies to national boundaries. The border is being used to harass the people, but the same border is used by wildlife for grazing. Customary land rights are good if we are working with a customary systems of governance. From Chad, there is the adoption of pastoral courts and the system of security. We are specialized at participatory mapping, which allows to find the needs of pastoralists and the traditional use. It allows for management of the land in accordance to community tenure. It is the most peaceful solution. We have the pastoral court for legislative issues and policies for participatory mapping for identifying and demarcating the pastoral lands with the communities that actually live there. Then we have committees that can govern the day by day. It should also be a recognition of customary tenure system by the regional bodies to ensure transborder recognition of the mobility of pastoralists. Recognize the, recognize the already existing effort between Uganda and Kenya. There is a way that the government has recognized Ateke community, the communities to share resources in youth gathering. We heard about grazing between Uganda and Kenya. There are also inter-community problems. If you in Kenya, you have communities going to Ethiopia and vice versa. Same in Tanzania. We have been moving cattle from millennia, but we still have conflicts amongst ourselves. Issues of politics. We need to mobilize and advocate before governments for shared resources. But for that, we need security of resources. Often, when the land is divided by individual ownership, if I cross, then I am on someone's private property. Two important issues: peaceful coexistence between communities and security of the already secured individual land. In terms of pastoralism, will our land be secured if it is awarded to individual ownership or community ownership? They are regulating the border by giving IDS to cross the border issue of conflicts between the different frameworks and protocols between countries. How do pastoralists know this and their rights? Benjamin Mutambuka. The question between Kenya and Uganda is an almost informal agreement, a gentleman's agreement. Secondly, we have the East African Common Market Protocol, which guarantees freedom of movement. But when you try to move a cow across the border, it becomes a very serious issue. Even when the governments controlled the border, there was a very strong protocol which allowed for free movement from locals from Sudan, Kenya, and Uganda. Even when there is an executive border, communities continue their traditional movements. There are still local arrangements. I think a main issue coming out is a need to clarify protocols and the different law that exist between different countries. Fayesa, South Sudan, at a personal level, there are two key issues. Political will not be able to move forward. The East African Community Protocol is very clear about the need to share resources. There is also lack of follow-up to ensure implementation at the national level. A lot of public health policy could be a nuisance. What? You have all.
Voilà. Non, encore descendre. Vers la fin.
This.
Ok, viens à partir d'ici. Ici.
Benjamin, coordinator of Eastern and Southern Africa Pastoralist Network. We are currently working with building the capacities of the different organizations to be able to do advocacy across borders. We are meeting under the AU guidance of the establishment of the AU Pastoralist Forum. There is a need to create a regional network that support the effort in across boundary way. We have already identified the issues, the solution, and the perspectives. The biggest issue now are the governments. What can we do to influence the government to change the law for protecting pastoralist rights?
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. And I think we had 2 points that we really wanted to flag to this group. In the discussions, I think 2 things that came out. I think no 3. Securing pastoral land rights and mobility corridor is essential for stability and prosperity of millions of pastoral households across Eastern and Central Africa. And there was also this strong need that was, widely accepted. There is a need to create like a regional body, like a regional network, of which we think that AFPAT and Impact can play a greater role to create like a regional pastoralist network that can help, in advocacy and also in influence. And the last one, I think it was a question, not like a question, but I think there was something for reflection. What type of land security are we really do we really want? Do we want individual pastoral land security or community land security? And I think this is a question that we really need to think about. Imagine a situation where pastoralist, that is one person, one individual, secure a large piece of land on pastoral land, and tomorrow decide to sell it maybe to an extractive or a foreign this. So I think the participants of our group said that we should really reflect on this. And when we are talking about securing our land, which type of security are we talking about? Is it individual security or community security? So on this, I think thank you all the members of the group, and also thank you for listening to this. We are open to questions and contributions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. A round of applause for her. She spoke very well. Personally, I only know one French. Écoutez et répétez. I don't know what it means. So I think if I wanted to know whether there's any additional from the group member. If there's no additional comments and contribution from the group member, I want group 2 presentation now. That's group 1, right? That's 2. Now it's 2. Yes. 1 and 3. Okay, group 3. Oh, okay. Okay, no worries. I think it's for the work. Fine, I'll come to group 3. So group 2. The moderators. Yes, please. Do you have presentation?
You always want to send me in group 3.
Okay.
I'm monogamous.
Group 2. Yes, please. The floor is yours.
Colin. I want to speak in French.
Oh, this is very organized group. One English, French, simultaneous translation happening here. So.
Oui, je veux. On va vous introduire. Merci. Bonjour.
Ou bonsoir, selon votre fuseau horaire. Le groupe 2 a travaillé sur les questions suivantes. Il y a une question générale et 2 questions qui sont sous-jacentes à la question générale, mais qui sous-tendent quand même les préoccupations des pastoralistes sur le plan de la dégradation et sur les risques climatiques. Donc, en premier lieu, nous nous sommes penchés sur comment la dégradation des terres et les risques climatiques affectent-ils actuellement les moyens de pratiques traditionnelles de gestion du bétail? Ça, c'est une question d'ordre général qui sous-tend quand même quelques 2 questions. Donc, nous nous sommes interrogés alors sur la question de savoir, face à ces risques climatiques et de dégradation des sols, quelle forme de réponse et d'investissement les éleveurs mettent-ils en œuvre face à cet impact, c'est-à-dire les propres solutions venant des éleveurs eux-mêmes. Et en deuxième lieu, nous nous sommes penchés sur quelles sont les formes d'intervention extérieure, c'est-à-dire entre parenthèses, politiques, capitaux, compétences sont nécessaires pour atténuer les impacts et soutenir un pastoralisme durable, c'est-à-dire les solutions quelque peu venant de l'extérieur, mais qui peuvent être en concertation avec les pastoralistes. Je passe la parole au facilitateur anglophone pour introduire les rapporteurs. Merci beaucoup. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Adamu. Okay, thank you so much, my brother from West Africa or Central Africa. This group had the rapporteurs or the reporters, we call them reporters for this time. And we have a French reporter and then the English reporter. I'm sure the English reporter will give an English brief and then completed by the French. Thank you. Give a brief on question 1.
Question by question or just complete everything?
Wants to present.
Oh, okay.
So do the 2.
Okay, thank you. I am the English reporter for Group 2. I am quickly going to run through our summarized version. You know, it was 2 classes that we gathered the ideas together, put it together, and I'll just, on the point form, read out what we thought or what we get from the classes. We are calling it classes. Okay, first issue was on how land degradation and climate risk are currently affecting us. As I mean pastoralists, I believe everybody in this room is a pastoralist. And the first thing is that pastoral lands is shrinking due to land degradation and climate risk. So our grazing lands are becoming smaller and smaller. And our strategic fallback, or what we call reserves area, are becoming settlement. These places where we go to in drought times or in times of needs are becoming permanent settlement because of these 2 issues. And we are losing soil covers. Our soils are becoming bare grounds. And this whole situation is causing urbanization. So a lot of people, a lot of youth, especially the youth, are moving to towns because of loss of livelihood, and this whole thing is causing urbanization. And also there is invasive species that are taking over grazing lands um, because of disappearing of our good species. The opportunistic invasive species are taking over the rangelands, which are less useful to us. And also there is increases in flash flood and drought frequencies. Droughts are becoming more frequent and flash floods are increasing and more severe. And there is agriculture and development investors are squeezing into pastoralist lands. And please, I'm giving a summarized version. There is changes in territorial settings of communities, and there's a loss of traditional knowledge on land tenures, and there's loss of productivity on the land over time because it's been bare for long, and due to these floods and all this, the productivity of land is becoming low or decreasing. There's increase in conflicts because of these issues, and there's also weakening of community governance system. And there's overutilization of key species, water species, and medicinal species because they're being overused, and due to increased drought that we said, they are not replenishing at the rate of use. Then on the second item was that what are we doing now currently to address these issues? What are the pastoralists doing to address the issues that I just mentioned above? First of all, the pastoralists are now practicing sustainable land management. They are planning grazing one side and grazing the other side to make sure that they have reserve for the time of need. Also, in some other countries, they are looking for lucrative market when the prices are high, or what we call contract farming, and then they offset. And others are using traditional innovation and structures to manage scarce resources, such as water, and others are producing pasture and to store it and to supplement. And others are moving into collective land ownership acquisition. My previous speaker just mentioned it. So others are moving into collective land ownership because individualization of land ownership is cutting the land and making the land too small. So other communities are getting land and having a collective ownership over their land. And others are surviving on transhumans, going into another countries for survival. And others are using biomass fodder or acacia pods. In my country, we call it bush to feed, taking the pods and crush it and making animal fodder. And in countries like Kenya, they have index-based livestock insurances, whereby they get insured, they insure their livestock for drought or climate risk. And also there was a mention that others are doing herd diversification or diversity for more adaptable animals. And you have sheep, you have goats that utilize different pastures. I think those were our 2 points. My French colleague will add on the rest. Yeah. Yeah.
My friend lost the French version of the presentation. You got it?
Yeah, I can. Yeah. Yes. You send me, but you cut it. You didn't send it.
Okay.
But I will read my own note if you want. But if you prefer you for a common, then you read the third one. Hello. Yeah, just to clarify, we put all our notes together and we try to get a one single report. And when they translate and they send me, the third part of French didn't come. So I will just allow him to continue so we have the same. I do have my note and I let him continue.
Okay. Thank you. These are the policy-based position from our group. Of course, looking at what he has presented, the people have suggested that there is need to strengthen communities to demand the mining companies to rehabilitate sites after closure. This came out from issues of land use, especially involving investment in pastoral areas. Then the other issue came about the control of livestock numbers. So the people said you cannot reduce the livestock numbers, but if you can reduce your bank balance, then they cannot. They can also reduce theirs. So they can only do offsetting livestock numbers during time of drought. Then they also said we can strengthen, borrow the position of Zimbabwe of contract farming. Companies like the livestock marketing and packaging companies can sign contracts with the pastoralists, and so they can buy the livestock based on different index. Then the strengthening the livestock subsidy and off-taking opportunities among pastoral communities, transhumance protocols, ratification. For example, the IGAD region can really be pressured to rectify most of these protocols they have developed. And early warning systems, readiness and preparedness for most of the communities needs to be strengthened, especially looking at the traditional knowledge systems among the pastoral communities. Livestock disease surveillance systems should be established, and these corridors must have those systems in place to detect this through the One Health programs that integrate environment, human, and animals. Protection of key species. These are tree medicinal and fodder plants that are being over extracted for different purposes by different investors and different users. Then we have an issue of protection of key, improved indigenous breeds are not replaced with mixed up breeds. This is a point came from Uganda, where the government does restocking programs with the different breeds. For example, breeds brought from South Africa and mixed with the indigenous breeds. That's loss of the biodiversity protocol issues among the pastoral communities. Uh, then the issue of value addition, policies around addition should be strengthened, especially supporting pastoral communities to add value on their products or products coming from rangelands, for example. Strengthen the strategic forage storage facilities in different corridors, especially these transshipment corridors. Relationship between those producing the fodder should be strengthened in a way that the costs are subsidized if they are to be bought in those ASAL regions or ASAL communities. Creating a pastoralist data platform. We indicated that in most countries, there is low data on livestock population in And so policies are based on colonial data that's available or data that's not updated. And so pastoral policies and livestock policies are based on that. Creating dialogue platforms to resolve conflicts. They gave an example of West Africa, the Fulani and others. So these platforms will increase opportunities for dialogue for peace, dialogue for many purposes. Then the last is pastoralist negotiating groups that establishing structures that can move to negotiate for resource sharing among pastoral communities. Like, for example, it was given between Uganda and Kenya. They have established a structure that performs negotiation for resources before cross-border pastoralism takes place. Thank you so much. These are our points.
Okay, thank you very much to the group. And I think any addition from the group member? Okay, good. I think we'll go to the third group, given that it's getting late and I think energy is going down. Group 3. Group number 3. Okay, do it a bit faster to save time. Who is the presenter? Are you the presenter? Oh, you have two presenters like the other group. Okay, interesting. You've English presenter or okay, please. Yeah. Start as you look for your second or a counterpart. Okay. The moderators.
Just to explain what we did. The point
No, I haven't written a single word of this. This is the person who's written it who should present. I can confirm, but these are not my notes.
Merci beaucoup. Bon après-midi à tous. Nous, notre groupe, le groupe numéro 3, nous avons travaillé sur la politique et la législation. Et là, nous avons travaillé de manière inclusive, d'où des préoccupations ont été émises par les uns et les autres. Et je vais laisser tout de suite la parole au rapporteur qui va vous donner la quintessence de notre travail. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur le facilitateur. Bonsoir à tout le monde. Comme il venait de le dire, notre groupe qui travaille sur les politiques et législation. Nous avons posé quelques 4 questions à nos participants. La première question, qui est celle de savoir quelles sont les principales menaces politiques, par exemple la conservation, l'agriculture en pleine expansion, les menaces du carbone en Afrique. Les réponses qui nous ont parvenues, premièrement de Tanzanie, ils nous disent qu'il existe des écarts sur les politiques et les réalités. En Tanzanie, donc, les politiques vertes, on parle de politiques vertes, mais vraiment, c'est des politiques, quand vous fouillez dans les mises en œuvre, rien de vert et ça compromet beaucoup les éleveurs. Donc, comme recommandation, ils ont sorti une recommandation en disant qu'il faut que le gouvernement élabore un système dans lequel les pastoralistes peuvent se faire écouter. Donc, ça, c'est la recommandation de Tanzanie. Maintenant, deuxième recommandation aussi venant de Tanzanie, de notre ami Mike, il y a des initiatives qui ont délivré des documents aux politiques, aux populations s'occupant. Donc, il y a des projets qui viennent, qui donnent des documents. Mais ces documents, quand vous voyez, au fond, ne servent pas à grand chose. Donc, ça fait qu'il il faut que il a recommandé à les gouvernements, s'il faut élaborer des politiques, il faudrait que les politiques soient claires et applicables avec des moyens de suivi. Maintenant, l'autre de Ouganda a la même question. Il existe des politiques, mais qui sont très biaisées pour les pastoralistes. En Ouganda, il ne semblait pas avoir de politique pour les pastoralistes, car les territoires sont toujours sous les propriétés coloniales. Donc, il a recommandé à ce que tous les Africains, les pays africains doivent avoir des lois communes pour les droits fonciers du domaine du pastoralisme. Maintenant, du côté du Tchad, il nous dit que nous avons un problème sur le code pastoral qui a été adopté et quelque temps qui a été rejeté. Maintenant, le rejet vient de l'opposition du côté des agriculteurs qui se sentent lésés parce qu'ils disent que les lois favorisent beaucoup plus les pastoralistes. Et après, le gouvernement a annulé la loi. Et ils se demandent, pour eux, les militants, les pastoralistes, que peuvent-ils faire pour vraiment aider le gouvernement à valider cette loi qui est très importante pour les pasteurs. Donc, il existait aussi une loi foncière, mais les pastoralistes se font tuer dans leur propre zone, malgré que c'est des zones dédiées au pastoralisme. Donc, il y a beaucoup de problèmes qui existent malgré cette loi foncière. Nous quittons nos amis du Tchad pour parler de nos amis de Ouganda, qui reviennent aussi sur ce qu'ils venaient dans notre groupe. Ils disaient que les politiques élaborées en Ouganda privilégient les groupes miniers, privilégient les agriculteurs intensifs aux grandes dames des pasteurs. Donc, les pasteurs ougandais réclament vraiment une politique. Il faut des politiques qui mettent clairement le sous-secteur du pastoralisme en valeur. Maintenant, notre intervenant de Kenya, de Koromozone, si j'ai bien écrit, Koromozone, il dit, Koromozone, donc ça c'est la deuxième question qu'on a posée, quelles sont les initiatives par les éleveurs eux-mêmes pour atténuer ces menaces liées à la législation ou bien à la carence de l'application des mesures des lois? Notre ami de Kenya dit, plusieurs défis existent dans ce domaine. Par contre, le président du pays a lancé une directive qui interdit de partager les ressources entre les communautés de Turkana et les Karamazan, ce qui a entraîné des mésententes. Par après, les communautés elles-mêmes, ils se sont retrouvées pour s'asseoir, pour s'entendre, pour élaborer des partages à la manière coutumière pour se partager des zones et faire le suivi et pour ne pas aboutir au conflit. Donc ça, c'est une initiative qu'on a bien notée. Et il y a une initiative aussi qui a été annoncée du côté du Niger, entre Niger et Nigeria. C'est que l'initiative existerait entre les communautés Katina et Maradi. Donc ça aussi, c'est une initiative que les leaders communautaires eux-mêmes se sont entendus pour permettre de se partager les ressources entre les communautés des éleveurs. Maintenant, nos amis du Maroc, et ils nous ont donné quelques listes des initiatives que le gouvernement a prises pour encadrer le domaine du pastoralisme. Il n'y en a pas eu d'initiatives communautaires. Donc, revenons toujours sur le côté du Tchad. Il y a eu une expérience qui a été partagée qui dit qu'il existe un conflit entre éleveurs et agriculteurs. Après, les équipes des médiations sont parties sur le terrain, des médiations émanant des leaders communautaires, ils sont partis pour régler le conflit, proposer une cartographie et la répartition des zones d'usage. Donc, ils ont fait la même chose que les éleveurs du Niger et Nigeria avaient fait. Maintenant, aux deux dernières questions. La première, existe-t-il des possibilités pour les éleveurs pastoraux africains, sous forme de voix ou d'action collective, de faire face à ces menaces? Si oui, où? La deuxième question aussi, on a ramassé les deux questions à la fois. Comment les plateformes régionales ou mondiales peuvent-elles être utilisées pour faire face aux menaces? Quelles actions sont requises de la part des éleveurs? À ces deux questions, nous avons reçu la réponse de l'intervenant du Sud-Soudan. Il a dit que le Kenya, Sud-Soudan, l'Éthiopie partagent les communautés qui parlent les mêmes langues. c'est déjà un facteur, une opportunité pour ces communautés pour s'entendre, avoir les manières de partager les ressources. Donc, il propose vraiment à ce que ces trois pays se réunissent pour créer une plateforme transfrontalière pour la libre circulation et la gouvernance foncière harmonisée. La même proposition revient de nos amis du Kenya, qui disent que la plus grande opportunité en Afrique est que la population parle les mêmes langues. Malheureusement, les politiques ne sont pas harmonisées. Ils réitèrent la même recommandation. De nos amis du Niger aussi soulèvent la même chose. Ils proposent de créer une plateforme transfrontalière pour la libre circulation et les politiques foncières. Nos amis de Tanzanie, il dit le ministre a le droit de réquisitionner les terres des éleveurs pour l'utiliser sans aucun droit. Donc, c'est comme si la loi autorise le ministre de chasser les éleveurs, prendre des territoires donnés, par exemple, aux entreprises minières et autres. Il n'y a aucun recours possible. Là, c'est une plainte qu'il a déposée. Donc, il n'y a pas de recommandation là-dessus. Un autre ami du Sud-Soudan revient en disant que les opportunités qui existent, c'est la transfrontalité des langues africaines. Donc, nous avons toutes ces communautés nomades qui ont des langues communes. Et ils font souvent entre Soudan du Sud et Éthiopie, ils font des cérémonies annuelles pour pouvoir renforcer la cohésion entre ces communautés. Et pendant ces cérémonies, ils profitent de passer des pactes ou bien des messages pour harmoniser vraiment leur activité. À la fin, nous est revenu nos amis du Tchad avec qui ont parlé des initiatives transfrontalières de vaccination. Et ils font la vaccination entre le Tchad et le Niger pour pouvoir harmoniser et montrer à ces éleveurs que vous êtes au Tchad, vous êtes des éleveurs tchadiens, vous êtes au Niger, vous êtes des éleveurs du Tchad. Donc, il n'y a pas de différence et vous devez respecter la loi, de respecter le couloir et nous sommes là deux ensemble pour s'occuper de vous. Ça aussi, c'est un exemple qui est très remarquable. Et à la fin, il y a un plaidoyer. Il y a quelqu'un que je n'avais pas noté son nom, apparemment un acteur humanitaire qui a dit plusieurs plaidoyers ont été lancés de haut niveau à les Nations Unies, au gouvernement, mais sans suite. Que faut-il faire pour que ces plaidoyers donnent des fruits? Donc, lui, il a créé à ce que nous, ici, on propose à ce qu'on puisse créer une plateforme mondiale qui va traiter ces questions. Donc, c'est la dernière recommandation que j'ai reçue. Si notre collègue anglophone est là, il peut nous compléter. J'espère que vous m'avez suivi pour éviter les répétitions. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you. So I'm going to read the English report. Some may overlap because you've not homogenized the whole report, but I'm just going as it is. Okay, it's not even much. It's just some almost like 300 pages, 300 words. I know you had a good lunch. Anyway, so Group 3 English report done by me, Jacob Lakaitogo from Kenya. So our group discussed so I've grouped them into policies and some on the specific countries. So we discussed on major policies threatening African pastoralist communities across Africa, particularly on conservation, land governance, carbon market, lowland agriculture, and weak domestication of regional policies. So on conservation, participants highlighted the expression of exclusionary conservation models that displace policies, with Ngorongoro cited as a clear example. One participant noted that free, prior, and informed consent is often conducted after decisions are already made, and in some cases, based on misinformation. Just after misinformation, then the FPIC is conducted. As a result, policies are implemented without genuinely hearing pastoralist voices. On land governance, the group raised serious concerns about
weak recognition of customary land tenure rights. In countries such as Tanzania, again, certificate of village land are being drawn by the government to transfer to private investors. For example, what is happening in Amboseli, and national policies often fail to reflect pastoral realities and often applied uniformly, despite the uniqueness of wetlands. Participants also emphasized on the need to for pastoralist specific laws and governance framework, noting positive examples where pastoral code already exists, such as example in Chad. We also observed that pastoralists are frequently excluded from policy drafting processes, allowing policies to be shared without them and their input. Regarding carbon market, the group expressed concern that uh, policies are increasingly aligned with mining interests and sedentarization agendas, creating new risks and disposition for pastoral communities. On agricultural investment, um, yeah, we identified a major threat, particularly expansion of lowland agriculture into rangelands, which undermine mobility, grazing systems, and pastoral livelihoods. Despite these challenges, the group recognized strong pastoral-led responses initiatives across the continent. For example, in Uganda, there's a framework which of shared resources, which the government of Kenya and Uganda signed by the two presidents, and now the government is now it's weak. That protocol, that agreement is weakening. And now the government, the communities are now assessing this through their own effort because they have one shared language and culture. They can now share one resources based on that culture and language. In Niger, the Tuareg and Tapasheg pastoralists are responding to insecurity, livestock theft, and disappearance of historical and transhumance corridors through sensitization of herders, rights, and community dialogues. We also had positive policy examples in Morocco, where government has passed laws to address pastoral challenges, supporting rangeland restoration, establishment of cooperatives, and planting of trees in rangelands. Mhm. Across regions, pastoralists are threatened by traditional and pastoralists are being threatened through the traditional institutions and elders councils by the government and also the policies being enforced, engaging in cross-border peace mobility agreements, which are forced to enter into cross-border peace agreement locally without the use of government and other local authorities. Participants emphasized the importance of engagement with regional and global platforms, including AU, UNCCD, IYRP, as well as the community land registration legal action to secure customary tenure through regional pastoral initiatives. On opportunities for collective action, the group strongly called to a unified African pastoralist policy voice, including homogenizing policies across countries where they address the same issues under different names, developing common policies and framework instead of fragmenting them. So we have different policies, different languages. Now we have them in one language, but now cut crossing the whole continent. We highlighted the need of coordinated advocacy on land conservation and carbon, especially among communities such as Maasai, Karamoja, Toposa, who share culture and ecosystem across national boundaries, the Eastern Africa. The group emphasized the strategies. We emphasized on the African Union framework policies to secure pastoralist land and strengthen knowledge sharing across East and West, Central and Southern Africa to avoid fragmentation, reduce conflict, and from each other secure tenure rights to ensure high value supported platforms ensure data are presented in policy spaces. So we had some recommendation, though I've not managed to have all of them, on customary land tenure, where the government should recognize that rangelands have different governance away from the institutionalized policies. So they should have a different mode of policies that govern rangelands. Conservancies, conservation policies must be co-designed by pastoralists and with pastoralists in respect with their rights. Carbon investments must uphold free, prior, informed consent on land rights. Regional bodies must demonstrate and domesticate pastoral policies at national level. Pastoralist platforms must speak and pastoralists must form platforms to speak under one voice and a coordinated front in a whole African content. Thank you so much. I think that is it for me in English speaking and group 3. Amen.
OK. Merci beaucoup, chers participants. Voilà le résultat de notre travail, de notre groupe. Mais avant de quitter le turbine, je voudrais apporter cette précision-là par rapport au code pastoral du Tchad. Avant le code, le Tchad dispose d'une loi appelée la loi d'orientation agro-silvo-pastorale, qui est inclusif et holistique. Et les deux textes que le code pastoral et puis la politique foncière déclinent de cette loi-là. Et nous avons déjà lancé, après 11 ans, nous avons lancé le processus de la relecture du code pastoral où, à travers les 23 provinces, de manière concertée, et nous avons impliqué vraiment les acteurs de la société civile, les organisations pastorales, et nous avons organisé d'abord 5 ateliers zonaux et nous sommes en train d'organiser aussi dans les jours ou dans les mois qui suivent l'atelier national pour avoir un code pastoral. Et idem aussi pour ce qui concerne la politique foncière. Nous avons aussi lancé dans ce sens et nous sommes aussi dans le processus d'organiser les ateliers. Sinon, le Tchad, c'est un pays d'élevage par excellence, le EG l'a dit ce matin. Nous disposons d'un cheptel qui est estimé à 156 632 551. Ce n'est pas petit. Et nous sommes en tête en termes de dromadaires, surtout en Afrique. Et nous avons vraiment réservé une place de choix aux éleveurs tchadiens et nous reconnaissons aussi leur statut. Si nous sommes ici aujourd'hui, je parle sous le contrôle du secrétaire général, nous sommes tous issus des familles pastorales et nous accordons une place vraiment particulière et prépondérante à cette communauté pastorale d'où nous sommes ici et nous avons été derrière les animaux. Je vous remercie.
Okay. Well, very powerful. Thank you very much. I think I'll call the last group, group 4. The moderator for group 4, come up a bit faster, please. Time is not on our side. I happen to be in this group, so I will double up as session moderator and then also moderator of the session.
Thank you so much. We are group number 4, and our question was to access to market and economics. Our first question was key market barriers limiting market access for livestock. We went through 2 groups, and they gave out different ideas. One of them was the regulatory framework. Checklist is too much. Another one is infrastructure for physical market like roads and mobile telephone connectivities in rural areas. Lack or inadequate financial institution in rural areas. Lack of timely market information, whereby sometimes pastoralist goes to the market and they find that the price is not in their favor because they did not know what is the demand of the market. We have livestock diseases, market sensitive diseases like PPR that affect sheep and goats, foot and mouth diseases that affect the cattle. Then we have high taxation rates, limited knowledge platforms, insecurities, both cross-border and within, whereby we have some policies that restrict our mobility as pastoralists. We have limited value addition to livestock and livestock products, livestock-related quality, that is lower breed. We have gender barriers, whereby in most of the pastoralist community, women are not allowed to get involved in long distance trade. We have lack of collective action. We as pastoralists, most of us do not have corporate livestock groups. Policy and economic decisions, which they do not promote. They promote other things like farming, but they do not promote livestock and such. Limited veterinary services. We have droughts. We have labor constraint, whereby most of the pastoralism work is being done by older people. We have weak rangeland management and disorganized grazing committees. We have conversion of pastoralism land to conservation and other uses. Question number 2 was, what pastoralists do to manage or mitigate the barriers that we've just mentioned? Pastoralists nowadays, they improve the breed. They organize small procedural groups, that is the collective action. They coordinate weekly markets, or we term them as scheduled markets. Pastoralists take advantage of seasonal demands, whereby they are sure of the price. They check on like what time of the year there's a high demand of goats or cows. That is when they take the livestock to the market. Improving the rangelands to improve the livestock values and livestock value additions. Collective livestock dipping to control diseases. Peer-to-peer learning. Use their pastoralist network to penetrate to the market. We also have species diversification, whereby some of the pastoralist community, they decide to shift from keeping the livestock to camels and sheep, who are most resistant to drought. Another one, we have the niche market certification. For example, we have the participatory guarantee system of certification. Another thing, we have lobby for the traditional knowledge of food preservation to be recognized as a value addition, where we had an example of the Karamoja community, where they can preserve fresh milk for 1 year. So that was a good example that we got from them. Then question number 3 is, how do pastoralists be organized to take advantage of regional policies, and what other region or pan-African policy requires to unlock market potential? One of it, we said we have to establish border corridor markets, where we have, for example, we have different classes, like we should have, like from Mara and Serengeti, we should have them. We should have a corridor market there, and different other parts of Africa. Establish pastoralist network to share information. Having a pastoralist platform where they can exchange ideas and so forth. We need to lobby in our respective countries for the ratification and domestication of regional policies. Another point is capacity to establish sanitary and phytosanitary This is international trading standards. I think my colleague here will explain more about that. The last point is interconnectivity of the trading blocks like ECOWAS, SADC, and IGAD, so that we can have a free trade movement within the whole region. Thank you. That was all for our group.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do you have anything to add? Okay. I think that is our group on market. I think there are a few things that in the presentation that was mentioned. One, based on the West Africa trade block, minus security and all the issues, the potential of regional policy opening up a trade corridor is very high. I think one big ask is how do you deepen this to get the ratification of supportive policy, and the second, of course, is the connection between, because we have IGAD here, we have SADC there, we have ECOWAS there. I think this block connection between the block could actually mean once you organize one part, then you can also organize the other part, and that's how you attain Pan-African, so to speak, take advantage of Africa continental free trade area and opportunities that come with it. Okay, now given that we are coming to the end of the day, I wanted now to take a few minutes so that comments to all the presentation can be done. So our group was very efficient because it's only largely English speakers. We didn't have the complexity of translating, I think, yeah. But anyway, it was very interesting discussion for that purpose. So we'll take feedback collectively. If there's any burning feedback, I would really say the presentation was excellent. Sorry. Oh, you want them to come down? I thought they wanted to stay here. Okay. Thank you very much, and I think you did a wonderful job in the group, and Santani. Okay. I see there are 2 hands there. Pass. Yes, please, you can help. Yeah, I think. Yes, please, do the movement of.
Okay, thank you. Just as a summary of overview. It's not even it's just a small input here and there. Group 1, they talked about peace building. So here, the issue of first, because where I come from is Kenya, Ethiopia. I'm just a border man because Ethiopia border is just 50 kilometers from where I keep my animal. So here, it is an innovation which has been existing over thousands of years without the government or so forth. Because these communities like the Gabra, Borana, and the rest, they have got their customer institutions which manage all this. So that is now sharing of pasture, water. One time there's no water on the other side, then on one side sometimes there's pasture. So the community comes together, the government and the NGOs and the rest are in the backyard in the backyard to support. So it is an innovation that is using the customary structures. Then using community declarations. They don't create, but the existing one. Even the Karamoja and the Turkana, they have a ticket or something like that, something similar. Then here, transboundary trade, transboundary business units are also critical. And finally, there's something, a lot of things has been said. Then about the weeds, we have the invasive, we have the foreign, and then the local one. It is the local one is also suppressing the grass. Finally, of genetic eroding, the indigenous genetic breeds are getting eroded. Finally, no, you said finally 3 times. Nyiri. I just want to mention the word nyiri. Finish, because I want to give others chance. Okay, nyiri, like the Karamoja way of food preservations. We also have the nyiri or koche of preserving the meat. It's 6 months plus. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very powerful. He's always, he has a lot of points and we have to cut him short. Sorry about that. But I wanted to give, no, there, please, the second and then third.
Salam alaikum. Donc, bonjour tout le monde. Donc, moi, je me nomme Khalid El Mokhtar, donc je viens du Niger. Donc, j'aimerais expliquer ou apporter un peu d'éclaircissement par rapport à un point qu'on avait développé dans notre groupe, qui est relatif au mécanisme qu'il faut trouver pour que les pasteurs qui sont au niveau des différentes frontières de nos pays, c'est-à-dire fassent leur activité en harmonie. Donc, nous, on avait proposé ça parce qu'on a constaté que les éleveurs qui sont, par exemple, tout au long des frontières de notre pays, du Niger, par exemple, si vous prenez les éleveurs du Niger, du Nigeria, c'est la même chose. De l'autre côté, Niger, Mali, Tchad, c'est la même chose. Donc, peut-être les questionnements qu'il faut faire. Comment est-ce qu'ils vivaient avant la colonisation? Pourquoi avant la colonisation, il y avait une certaine stabilité qui manque aujourd'hui? Il faut fier. Et là, certainement, on va trouver des solutions, des pistes de solutions sur lesquelles on peut travailler. Merci.
OK, yeah.
Bonjour tout le monde. Alors, moi, j'ai eu à écouter un point qui a été soulevé par le groupe numéro D. Ces points disaient qu'il y a le gouvernement qui est en train de récupérer les terres pour remettre à des entreprises. Au Tchad, ça commence à arriver parce qu'il y a un nouveau décret de 2000 qui prend effet le 1er janvier 2026 qui récupère tous les terres appartenant à des individus non exploités. Maintenant, la question en est que on récupère ces terres-là. C'est pour donner à qui? C'est au profil de qui? Eh bien, je pense que cette question est en train de revenir sous-régional. Il faut que les pastoralistes puissent prendre en compte ces avancées dans les pays où ce n'est pas encore arrivé. Et dans le cas de mon pays, qu'on puisse prévoir comment valoriser ces terres-là au profil des pastoralistes. Et ça, c'est quelque chose que cette assise doit vraiment prendre en compte pour qu'on puisse sécuriser les terres pastoralistes. Merci.
Okay.
Okay. I'm from southern part of Ethiopia, bordering Kenya and South Sudan. I would like to pinpoint out the challenge that we are pastoralist communities face there, especially the areas, there is a river called River Omo, and, the investors have seen that's an opportunity now to grow things like bananas, including even onions, because that is the only way to generate foreign currency. So they see like the land being vacant, it's only for maybe growing crops and forget that that land belongs to the pastoralist communities. So you find that even among those communities living in Ethiopia, the territorial areas are not demarcated because they are within Ethiopia. So a certain worada can agree with the investor. When they agree, now the conflict comes in when that investor pays taxes to the certain worada. And now the elite people who are beneficiaries of the taxes, then they have to complain now to the community that that land belongs to us. And pastoralist communities, because they are now instructed by the elite, they follow, and that's how they create conflict. There is conflict of benefit between the others, and that's why those communities are also fighting. Furthermore, in terms of like the Ethiopia focusing much into rivers in investment, the reduction of the river has also caused problem because they were not informed that the river will be invested. And the pastoralist communities now used to grow sorghum along the river. Now, because of the hunger, they sell livestock, and that has also encouraged young people to steal in order to provide food for their families. Those are some of the challenges that people face there because they don't have voices to say anything. Thank you.
Okay, I will take three more here, there. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I come from Kenya, West Pokot County. My name is Reda Rotino. I would like to give some 3 comments, especially on the market. One of them is that before we go to value chain, we have to provide the, before we go to value chain, we have to provide the, we go to value chain after making sure that the people are able to produce until the time they reach the market, so that the value chain comes on terms of capacity on economy. And then secondly, the pastoralists are losing their knowledge, especially on the transfer. We need to be serious on forums on the transfer of knowledge to the generations. That is the intergenerational dialogue. Another issue is that we have the structures, but the capacities are actually need to be strengthened. And then finally, I want to say that if we are serious, especially the players, those ones who are called the funders, they should give us a collaboration which is long term. It's not short term, because something to be able to work, it must be long term. We work together. And also, the funding should be direct, especially to the pastoralists. Thank you.
Okay, this side. Sorry.
Any questions?
There. The two guys who wanted to say something.
Rador masa ni ngwana rok na aide mashange ya sana nuare jore anasi ayola ramadak na endo jatebat na sauren je yo ngwana ko ngwana rok county ni jara masa mara ni jata mau forest andi machine ge gishuang tolame na jara gishu ni jara tare ni jara gineji ni jara sirkun na masa na ni joshi kira matishore lego kira lo na ko nyamal tangara jore na masa na ke nyamal yaudi ni kutum olduru la jondai lo do wana oy magi si ayara matari nek nyoro leng ni jogindai mato nyok mai bangara ma be do koya ijo si kindi mai shira tangara ke nyamal ni kira ima kira do wana lungishu amore na ada ni rowa en kolong leng ore nya na ada en kolon ya na edi na ada bagi en kona juloita nela bagi na rosra na ke gra dum gishu gra ngi na ore da en nyamali ni ya sabu amora bodo larin kumogo dul soje en kada ban ya da orai sabu je baki na ora na kada ne lo dola mi ne gishu ne gitu mene ke merage lo ni to lo gishu na duara ne gitu mene ke merage mo gwara go gishu ne ke mere lo soto agore data ne wa nyamalu ko ya wi bele kenya ko no lo nyamali sapok na ga de maria ga ndai le duru in sabu ke sia ni asiasa tenera la lunga go nyoro ai bu enko ko ke na lo longa kangara ke nyamali lo na lo kishule ya wa yi na rajo Antonio kamaro du aji nyoge tata na ta re tu yo ga mo e ki nyamali lo na len keteng amore nyere ni ada na ida mfana amore arba yene ne lela bu dare no len ko bang le gra ma do shi yongi shu na ta golle na ji sewal ne ata kiri ne ata rupiani kage ore belo don ko longa ne anna nimmi gitu me ke tasaru ne lo don ko longa ko ore ngata na birni gi yeng ni me golle ne ga la kodi kita lagi yo so gali kodi ene normal yang kage ore ga biya o ge ni la ni yo me do ta na du masane me ata faida ni kudu me yo ngi ma ya kintai eno duru yang ko bo loro pokit yang ko bo ake yena ramadan kiteng na ramadan wes amore den yen wes ya ke shola yo ko wes na masa mara ya ke shola na ga bo den kiteng wes hon masa ni ne an da na nya pokin ai ora be ke bo no de ka ngasi na no de ni wes e jina ga di wolan kiteng ni ne di ngiri ngwa kiteng ni na ga yi ore na do ki biya ko na ga ro nya ta yo ran gara ke na mali na da wala to na wanya ya go mo na jogi ore ni en timmi na egero shior ma sai no na ko ore tan timmi ai ta yendo na jolo keri ni mbogi la shok odede ni mbogi gishu na shal ka ke ewu na ko baru mara do la ruok o nyale ko ore ngugu ndo na ji ngugu ne be jirge ke na ko na la gishu ke ko saru ni mi ya da yo lo yi le ke jing e ke nyama lo le ne ra do na ore yo na ko are jashe na ma yene nda kai a jola na dogala ai ngwa na ro county nara ola ramadani longishu nara si odwani ariko ni temurua na jasho le marwa yanda ngai.
Okay, someone to give us the quick translation in summary, please.
From what he said?
Yes.
So can we get any volunteer?
No, just because he was expressing something. No, I can't. I can't
You-
speak the
okay,
language.
so-
So it's a
so let's-
Masai.
okay, we have some people
Okay,
there. Okay,
someone will
please,
do
yeah.
that for us. Yeah, please, just quick one. Hey, give me the mic,
Oh, let us give it.
and you can summarize it. It's only good to.
I'm told I have 3 hours to translate. Well, I will do my best. So his introduction is a leader, but also a pastoralist himself. And he started by appreciating what the gathering like this are doing, expressing issues related to pastoralism, presenting the agenda, but also he recognizes some of the issues that, as the elder have seen, one being neglected as a pastoralist, one from the provision of the service related to livestock and pastoralism system at large. He remembers back then, last time when Kibaki was the president, where they had opportunity, or they have some places to sell, market for the byproduct of the cattle, even if they die because of the drought. He also expressed issues related to the ongoing drought. A lot of cattle are dying because of the drought. But also, he mentioned also the role they play at the pastoralist, the coexistence of pastoralist with the wildlife. But there was also one, and I think it was also a lesson reflection, that even within Nairobi, where you don't find somewhere perhaps, he was one like you find milk here and food as well. So he was sending a message that we as pastoralists, we are part of the, we have an important variable in the equation, so we should be respected. He also urged us to continue speaking for the pastoralist because we are part of that equation. Asante. I hope I try my best.
Okay, thank you very much. I think you got the flavor. Okay, last one here. And I know, I think it's difficult. We have to control it. There.
Ok, moi je vais parler en français, merci beaucoup. Comme j'étais rapporteur, j'ai oublié que j'ai la voix de Centrafrique aussi à passer, concernant surtout la question 4 qui demande comment les plateformes régionales mondiales peuvent-elles être utilisées pour faire face à ces menaces qui constituent maintenant les législatives ou bien les parcs ou toutes ces menaces qu'on a citées. Donc, nous, au niveau de la Centrafrique, comme vous le savez, nous sommes une partie du bassin du Congo. Donc, c'est des zones prioritairement pour la restauration et la sauvegarde. Alors que nous recevons des animaux qui viennent du nord qui veulent rentrer maintenant dans le bassin du Congo. Ça fait qu'il y a un paradoxe qu'il faut vraiment de bonnes politiques pour les concilier. Donc, ça fait que nous, notre principale recommandation, c'est de mener des plaidoyers comme on les a menés pour avoir l'accès au COP, de mener des plaidoyers auprès des onusiennes, aux organisations internationales pour qu'on puisse avoir des directives africaines communes qui permettent l'inclusion des pastoralistes dans l'implémentation des projets de conservation. Donc, si on a une stratégie commune et on la fait valoir partout, je pense que ça va être une condition pour que pour ces parcs de conservation puissent s'installer. Il faudrait qu'ils tiennent compte de certains paramètres que nous allons définir et surtout impliquer les communautés locales dans ces activités. Je pense que c'est très important de mentionner ça dans ce document. Donc, pour en terminer, je pense que c'est la dernière occasion pour en parler. Vraiment, les communautés, on a fait beaucoup de plaidoyer, on est avancé à un niveau très élevé, je pense. Mais maintenant, ce qui nous reste, c'est au niveau communautaire. Il faudrait que chaque représentant des communautés ou bien leader communautaire, on multiplie de former les jeunes, on multiplie de créer des associations, des ONG, des entreprises, des plateformes pour qu'on puisse vraiment éduquer les enfants, mettre des moyens de transformation de nos produits, faciliter l'accès au marché. C'est ça qui nous manque actuellement. Donc vraiment, c'est les actions de base qui nous manquent énormément et nos plaidoyers vont vraiment de demander beaucoup de projets de développement pour qu'on puisse vraiment concilier. Vous savez que c'est la pauvreté qui fait tous les maux que nous connaissons dans le monde du pastoralisme. C'est ça, je vous remercie.
Thank you. Please, may I request, because we have one person.
One final lady,
Yes.
and then we close, please.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. So my main issue is media when it comes to pastoralism, because in the sight of the media, the pastoralists are being painted as blacks, discouraging the youth from entering into pastoralism. And then from the forefathers to our time, we know that we are pastoralists and indigenous. Then as we going forward, what is the route for us? So we don't need social media now. We all have our phones. So I'm embracing and then acknowledging this program, and then also instilling in all the youth here in the auditorium to embrace social media. Imagine having Kenyans blogging about youth in Kenyans blogging about pastoralism and indigenous lifestyles of the Kenyans. Then we have some in Ghana, we have some in all over Africa. This would change the narrative. So we don't need the media houses. Let's change the narrative now. And then thank you for this program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for assisting with the mic movement. Okay, few announcements. First, I hope the rapporteurs captured the notes from the floor. And all rapporteurs should send your notes. Watson is there. You can stand up. Okay, please make sure that, because we'll look at it later in the evening or tonight, make sure that he has all the notes. So the 4 group rapporteurs, English and French notes to reach him. And then from my end, I was told to make some announcement. One is, I'm told this gadget is very important. Don't go with it. If you might have placed in your bag, check it also. Mistake do occur, that's what they say. So that's the note I have here, because we need it tomorrow. It really saved me today because of the simultaneous translation. Thank you. And then the second one, somebody lost an iPad or misplaced an iPad. If you may have seen it or place it somewhere for the recovery, please go to the back of the room and make sure that that is handed over back to the right owner. I think, yeah, I'll invite my colleague to take over from there for tomorrow's plan and the rest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother. Please raise your hand, clap to our moderators on the morning and on the afternoon, Yusuf and Goya. Thank you so much for all the work that you did for all the day. So thank you so much for that. And allow me also to thank our session moderators and session note takers. You really did a great job. We know that we didn't have time and we changed the way, but you adapt yourself. Thank you. Then allow me also to thank our interpreters, our technicians who are sitting in the back. Without those people, I think our communication will be very, very complicated. And thanks to all the impact team that also helping outside the restaurant that are feeding us. So please clap for all those people. And the email where you can send the report will be projected here. So all the rapporteur, please take note of this email, send your information. Then now let me tell you the plan. So it has been a long day. We are not going to stay longer. For those who live in Nairobi, they wanted to go home. For those who stay in the hotel, they wanted to get some rest. We do understand that. So tomorrow is going to be a field visit. So when we end here, please walk this way, and there is 3 tables. Put your name in the community visit that you wanted to go tomorrow. And as you hear, the breakfast is from 6 to 7. So at 7, and you can start getting into the buses. 7, the bus will leave. If you are, it's not working. If you are not in the bus at 7:30, the buses will be leaving to the community visit. So all the drive between 1 and maybe maximum 2 hours to go to the community visit. And you have all the names, you have all the information. Joe